Hello, today is the 2nd of March 2020. It started as for better or for worse, but hello, this is Clarisse. Either it was the 10th of October or the 20th of October 1987, as the correction marks did not fade with time on this certificate. The persons in the photo looked grim, scared, and at a loss. Maybe it depends on who's looking. Well, for one, who's looking is yours truly, Clarisse, who was the bride on the photo. Beside the groom, Mr. Joaquin T. Garcia Jr., and beside him was my brother, Bocal Clarissa Talaga Jr. of the 1st District of Quezon, and beside me was the cousin of the groom, Dorothy Verde, my bridesmaid. There was a time I would represent the photo with this. And it would be because of the claimants to my person with regards to custodial and proprietorial rights and the created confusion and disconnect in the registrations from the City Registry of Lucena to the then National Statistics Office or NSO, and finally the introduction to the system of marriage advisory, which has become a requirement for marriages under the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA. I can hazard a guess that the introduction of this requirement is due to incidences being reported. Surely, at 18 going 19 years old, because my birthday is October 22nd, 1968, I wouldn't need a cosmetic surgery before my wedding day. At 18 going 19, surely I could dispense with such vanity. School allowance will not allow that, for one thing, and definitely it can be a stumbling block. And surely concocting the most devious, scheming, and evil plot will need so much time to pull off and execute a tall order for a provinciana who left her parents' side for the first time to go to college. Birth control was not discussed, and I was said to be fairly attractive even then, slim and toned, and quite a good conversationalist. And later on, after the church ceremony that broke my father's heart, surely the demands of a family life would take its toll on a mother so young and coping with so much, and would extend herself to prove she wasn't wrong to go ahead with the marriage. So, if she would kill herself in hard work to perform all that's needed to keep the family together, coping with the adjustment period and the change of circumstance from being a carefree teenager with new baby, new husband, new business, and to maintain a facade to become redeemable in the eyes of her father, the pressure could crack that till death do us part. Joaquin or Jake or June had no such baggage, and alternately he was mad, disconnected, offended, sad, isolated, and so far from home, and a totally different family setup here in Lucena City. So he was also turned off, as I was turned off with the life that we were leading. Uh, we're going to the opposite directions, and it had become so bad, totally irreconcilable. He was turned off by the pressure I put myself and our whole family, but he didn't know. His family had no issues like that, and surely escaping to act out a fantasy will not even be considered, especially that it will take careful planning and lots of contrived incidences to avoid discovery. But that facts will not be obvious, surely, if and when there's a lot at stake. The shape of the face, the texture of the skin, the features that make up the physical attributes, the eyes, nose, mouth, And surely, if there is no great motivation, the recognition would have no problem. The height, the build of the body, the torso, lots of identification. Placing a woman at a time and place that will determine her identification and credentials would not need any incident report. But I said if there is no great motivation, because if there is a great motivation, that so changes the right and wrong, the end goal and the end game. By then, no photos, a registration, or a certification would suffice to surrender a real, accurate memory, not without a fight to the end. If no marriage certificate, no photos, no personal testimonies would set the record straight. Another tack, another course of action had to be taken to address the status quo of the reality of false identification already in the system, and crying about it will not set it right kind of approach. Since no amount of wishing or yelling that it's not happening will change what's happening, then from that reality, no matter how false and inaccurate, the path ahead can't avoid the alternate reality of what ifs already in progress. What's all this, by the way? It's called know your customer to the companies who are after me in a special and non-regular way. It's also called know your client for the legal representation that I am in need of. It's also know your contributor to the likes of Fox Network New York, USA, not my town, New York in Makati, which I'm also scheduled to explain what has happened to my tenancy. I am not one of the contributors of Fox News Network. I just want to make that clear. But the trail of identification can begin the steady stream of actionable information upon proper verification in an unsolicited, unilateral way. I have a very interesting point of view and can communicate the facts where I base them. My opinions and insights allowed my girls to take a stand in their own rights after they reached the age of majority. That's not a bad resume as a starting point. Or else, why would CNN and Fox Network, BBC, and other foreign news network cable channels be available to the viewers here in Southeast Asia, in particular here in Lucena City? So it means some of the contents of their news and public affairs will be relevant to us here in Lucena City, and the vice versa will also be true. Human interest, least of all. Then there's the regional politics and the globalization, which are also a real concern. After all, we share the same planet, the Earth. If it's not the language barrier that's going to stop this direct coordination, what then? The reliability of the identity of the presumptuous contributor, what else? It's also called Know Your Brand Partner to Mr. Anthony Tan of Grab Holdings Incorporated, who really should be asked because I've already started informing associates and offices that I'm coordinating the proposition letters to him. Listen, after signing disclaimer that the filled up forms that I am submitting, they are containing of accurate information, the due diligence should also be observed by the other party. Know who submitted the documents and forms as basis of further actions. This is also called Know Your Visa Applicant to the U.S. Embassy because of my passport, which is lost. I could be a jihadist if a really unscrupulous individuals who know of my situation, my vulnerability, and that was true then, but not now. Praise God. And because I will be in touch with entertainment and music companies, it's also called Know Your Artist. Thank you for tuning in. This is yours truly, Clarisse. By the way, know who you're watching in live broadcast.